In this series, we're gonna buy a very cheap BMW, make it super reliable, and build it using only junkyard parts. And we're gonna be trying to keep the budget below $2,500, which is 10,000 ringgit.
I'm badly in need of a fun, reliable daily under the budget of $2,500 or 10,000 ringgit. Because recently I've had both these cars break down and I had no car to drive. And not only is it sort of expensive to maintain both these cars, but when you don't have both the cars in the same time, you end up using apps like Grab, which is like Uber here, and using that isn't really cheap. So in this budget, ideally, I would want a JDM car that's reliable and also kind of fun. But I have a problem. I'm really obsessed with BMWs. But before we reveal this car, let's take a look at every car that I've viewed.
The first car looked like a movie prop 325i, but had decent interior and M5 looking rims. It didn't run, it had rat poo all across the car, and this abomination on the intake. It was far too expensive for $2,000, and there's no way we're fixing this for just $500. The next car is something I also saw in the same dealership. I do really want one, but I have no experience with Previas. It has an ice box. To access the engine, you must flip the seat. You can swivel this seat front or back. It has a sunroof and this TV thing. This was $1,250, which wasn't really bad, but it doesn't run and I don't know anything about these cars. And after that, we viewed an E39 520i, but it failed inspection, so we skipped this. Next was this E46 320i. It didn't run. It was automatic, but this was not a bad car for around $1,500. It might have had original Pia rims, and it actually had the best paint from all the cars I've viewed. But then the owner changed his mind on selling it.
And just as I was about to give up, I found this listing and it looked promising.
And this right here is a 1992 BMW 318i, and although it may look very clapped, it might be the perfect project. And it is quite low mileage at 139,000 kilometers. The paint didn't seem too good on most parts of the car, but it's fixable. But the good thing is the chassis is solid and there's no rust. In the engine bay, it wasn't too bad, and there were no signs of oil burning. We also got these original hubcap covers, and I'm not gonna lie, I kinda like it. Let me know if you guys want me to keep these or just go for some 18-inch rims. It did have this interesting head unit, and the AC didn't blow cold air, which can become a hassle if we have to take off the dashboard. I then started the car and went for a test drive. There was this ticking sound from the glove box, which could be a cheap fix unless it's another electrical issue. The car drove fine for the price, although the clutch pedal feel was a bit off and the shocks were surely busted. But for the price, I can't complain. We parked the car and the seller was looking to sell it for $1,600, which is 6,300 ringgit. I asked for $1,250, which is 5,000 ringgit, but we met in the middle at 1,350 USD, which is 5,300 ringgit. But the inspection and the name transfer cost was on me. And just like that, we now had an E36. And now the real question is this car gonna survive the 1 hour 30 minutes drive home? During the drive, all I was thinking about is if this car was gonna make it, because it's been sitting for 3 months. The steering wheel was shaking above 80 kilometers an hour, the suspension was too bouncy, the clutch pedal started to feel a bit worse, and the heat was getting to me because there's no AC and Malaysian weather is very hot. And with 60 kilometers to go, anything could happen. And in fact, something was already going wrong and getting worse, and I just haven't realized it at that point. We were also very low on gas, so we stopped by Petronas to get some gas, and then this happened. Yeah, it was leaking coolant pretty bad, and if it's the expansion tank, it's gonna be an expensive tow truck back, especially with the diesel price right now. And at this point, I wasn't sure if I was gonna even make it home, which was another 40 minutes away. The coolant leak slowed down, so I assume most of it already leaked out, or maybe it leaks only under pressure. I inspected the plastic expansion tank, because that's known to fail on most BMWs of this era, but I couldn't tell. I wanted to fill and bleed the system, so I asked the staff if they have a screwdriver. While he went to get a screwdriver, I used a rag to open the coolant cap. Ideally, you want to let the car cool down for at least 20 minutes and then use a rag to slowly release the pressure first, because if you open the coolant cap when it's hot, you are gonna burn your face. There was still water in the system, although it's corroded, and I don't recommend using mineral or tap water, but we're gonna flush it later anyways. So I just filled water and did a quick bleed, and it looked like it wasn't leaking anymore, so it was time to head back on the road, and I'm just glad we noticed it early. After driving it for a few minutes, I was keeping my eye on the temp. If it went high, best move would be to pull over and evaluate it. You don't want to drive when it's overheating, as you can destroy your engine really fast. Also, just driving this bouncy car with creaks, shaky steering, in the heat, it made me think how there's a certain kind of satisfaction you get from these shitbox cars. As clapped as it is, it still pushes through sometimes, and it pays off. Maybe there's a lesson there somewhere, I don't know. It's a new day and we're gonna start by washing the car. I started off by rinsing the car with water instead of foaming it first. Normally people recommend foaming first because if you rinse first, you're pushing the dirt into the paint, but this paint is messed up anyway, so it doesn't matter. While rinsing the wheels, I did notice that the backs were using Continental Comfort Contact 1, and this is a tire from 2008, and that is a safety hazard that needs to be changed. We scrubbed the front wheel with the wheel cleaner and then rinsed it. I used some iron remover and you could see it turn purple as it reacted with the particles, which means it's working. And it looks so much better than before. We're gonna put more time on the wheels on the detailing episode, but for now let's leave it as is. We then used a totally not a knockoff Car Pro shampoo to foam the car before the contact wash. And then we rinse it off. I just used one mitt to wash the whole car and didn't even rinse the mitt because honestly I'd be wasting more time being careful with this paint's condition. And keep in mind, we are gonna repaint this car ourselves as well as ceramic coat the whole car. But honestly, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. And now that the car wash is done, let's fix that ticking sound in the car. So I started by opening the screws to the glove box so I can access the fuse and relays. After opening the glove box, we found the ticking sound. It's from this relay and yeah. Okay, so after I took this blue relay off, I think it's the comfort relay. The windows don't work anymore. I mean, that side never worked, but this side's not working either. So we found the problem for the windows and now we're gonna be changing this. I wanted to try fixing it myself by soldering the cracked part, but clearly I don't know what I'm doing and I dropped it after. So I went to my E36 drift car and I got it from there instead. And now let's do the oil change. We got the oil filter. I'm gonna use a 10W40 semi-synthetic as it is an old engine, but just follow what's recommended for your car and where you live. We first chalked the back wheels and jacked up the car to put it on jack stands. I jacked it up from the front cross member and then put two jack stands on the jack points. You want to open the oil cap and dipstick so the oil flows down better. I went ahead and opened the oil filter cap using a 13mm, and once I took out the filter, and that is when I realized I got the wrong filter as the M40 engine has two different variants. After draining the oil, you want to put the bolt back with new crush washers and always put the oil back in the bottle and just give it to any car workshop. So I had to reorder the correct one. I took off the old O-rings and put the new filter in. You could pre-fill the oil filter a bit to avoid letting the car run dry on the first startup. There are people that prefer not to as you can get unfiltered oil in, but if you're careful, it's fine. And then put some old oil on the new O-rings before putting the cover back on, and ideally you want to torque it to spec. Then I started filling the oil and I felt confident to not use a funnel, but ended up making it look like filling the engine wasn't the goal. This car uses about 4 liters, so we filled most of it up, checked the level, and then filled the remaining needed. You can start up the car and later check the oil level again and then top up if needed. Next, I wanted to change the air filter because it's super easy to replace and it's very cheap. But then I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Forget a performance intake. Someone did an air filter delete. Obviously, never do this. You'll have random debris and bugs getting in the engine. But either ways, we just dropped in a new one and put the cover back on, so it should be fine now. I went back to look at the oil to see if there's any glitter, which could indicate metal shavings from the engine, and instead I found something else. Oh no, it's a like button. What could that mean? Looks a lot like the like button right below this video that you can press. And also, it seems like the new hood struts arrived, so let's fix that. Changing the hood struts are very easy. You simply pry open these tabs and just pull it out. It's the same for the top and bottom. We sanded off some of the old gunk from it and then we simply just push in the new ones. And just like that, we have a working hood strut, so we don't have to use that stick anymore. Now let's head to the junkyard to find some taillights and see what else they have. The place we're going to is in Klang, which is an hour 20 minutes away from me. And again, I took the E46 because I just enjoy this car way too much. Once I arrived, I had to go through the sketchy road and borderline off-road right before this, but at least we made it here. Walking into the junkyard, I couldn't help but feel bad for these cars. I mean, all these cars were once someone's new car that they must have dailied. And seeing that motivates me to build old cars because I believe they deserve to be treated well and driven for a long time. All these new cars with their emissions and all might be cool, but we also do pollute the world more by making so many new cars every year. And with how expensive cars are getting nowadays, a lot of us get tied up to these endless monthly payments just for them to have issues right when their warranty ends. But hey, At least we can still make use of the parts from these cars. After a bit of looking around, we finally found the E36 and it had just the part I needed. And surprisingly, this car was in pretty good shape as well, and that's including the interior. And in the trunk, I found another part that I really needed, but I really couldn't find one. This is the plastic fan shroud, and he wanted $37 for it, which is 150 ringgit, but I wasn't sure if it's the same as mine, so I checked the engine bay and this one had a 6-cylinder engine that doesn't use this. So I was pretty confused, but once I looked up the part, it was the correct one for mine. So the owner must have done an M52 swap and left all the old parts in the car. So I gave him my offer for the parts and we got them for a steal. Before heading back, I spotted this W169 A-Class, and I'm not kidding, this is my favorite A-Class and I think I will eventually buy one. I'm sure it's gonna turn a lot of heads. I mean, maybe for the wrong reason. There was also an E60 and the body looked pretty decent, but someone already took the headlights, rims, and calipers. I'm not gonna lie, I did consider building one of these too, but I wasn't sure if people would want to watch this. Would you guys want me to build a really cheap, budget, reliable E60? Let me know in the comments. And not too far from that was this Mercedes W202, and these could be a good project considering how cheap you could get them for now, but the rain was getting bad, so I went to go pay for the parts. We paid $20 for the Shroud, which was cheap because the cheapest used one I found online was $100. And the taillight was also only $20, bringing the total to $40 or 160 ringgit. And this junk haul was a massive success, which is the first of many. Driving back, I was quite low on fuel, so I wasn't sure if I could make it to the nearest gas station, which was another like 25 minutes away. But eventually we managed to get some gas, and now let's go home and fix up the car. And now let's change the fan shroud. I just carefully wiggled out the old one, and before installing the Junkyard one, I did rinse it, and after drying it, I carefully lined it up back to the tabs. Ideally, you want to take the fan off, but if you're careful, you can still wiggle it through. The bottom part is held with tabs, but the top part I just zip tied it. And this looks so much better than the old one. Now let's move on to the left taillight. I just took off 4 9mm bolts and unplugged the cable, and it was out with the old and in with another old but better. I mean, it does have some spiderweb crack on the reverse light, but it's still a massive improvement. And for the price, I really can't complain. And then we faced the first big problem. The clutch wasn't working, and depending on what it is, it could become a hassle. But if you've been enjoying the video so far, I would really appreciate if you guys could leave a like. It really helps out small channels like mine, and if you want to watch part 2, why not subscribe?